Okay, so today we have Stone Temple Pilots, Dead and Bloated. This, of course, is the opener to their debut album, Core. I've heard a few of their songs. I don't believe I've ever heard Dead and Bloated. I brought up STP last week in a song I listened to because a song I reacted to reminded me of one of their songs. So anyway, here we are. And what's crazy to me is that this album and Dirks by Alice in Chains were both released on the same day back in 1992. And that's just nuts. So anyway, let's get into this. Talk about it after. I'm sure 1992 was a blast for the people who were there. Let's go. I'm afraid for the drop. Jesus. I don't know why it had me on edge the whole way through. Well, I guess that's the point. Dead and Bloated by Stone Temple Pilots, or STP as well. Like I said, this album came out in 1992, the same day as Dirt from Alice in Chains, and I mean, I'm a bigger Alice in Chains fan than a STP fan, but it's only because I have not listened to enough STP, and that's, part of why I'm doing this now. I know, I've heard a few of their songs, of course, that I've heard about Velvet Revolver. I've heard about Scott Weiland and the Wildabouts, and, his other projects too. And one thing that's always true about Scott Weiland is his voice, and especially back here on their debut album. I don't know if and again, I'm not the biggest STP aficionado, but I don't know if they were ever angrier or ever more gritty or dark than they were on Core, and that's as well as an opinion I've seen people talk about as well. So that's what has put that out there too. But with his voice, the way that Scott could sing, and it's been said many times, he was like a chameleon. He never sounded the same all the time. He always changed up his voice. Always changed up his look as well. I mean, you look at him here in '92 compared to him in the 2000s or whatever. I mean, he was different. I mean, my God. And anyway, just to say all that, just say about Scott Weiland and who he was and how he was as a performer, and the way he could just change up so easily, so versatile, and so memorable as well in all his different iterations. It's just nuts. But to talk about the song in particular, his voice is so beefy. I mean, the whole song is heavy. I mean, from the heavy guitar riffs, from the obviously notable grimy bass line here, and like I said at one point, do you hear that bass? I just love how grimy it sounded and how you could hear every note and every feeling of it, and just the tone of the bass had here. I mean, from Robert DeLeo, I do believe there, and he was just doing so well here. But his work was just undeniable. It was underneath a lot of the instruments, but you could hear it come through prominently at different points, and I was just taken aback by his bass work here. But just to say, like I was going to say, the whole song is heavy and intense. The intense drumming too, holy frick, from Eric Kretz. I want to say Kretz, I apologize, but Eric, I mean, they're all so good, but then you get Scott on top of it, and from the get-go, like I said, with his, I do believe it was some kind of a vocal effect, I would say there, and how he comes in, and yes, he's singing obviously very ferociously, but at the same point, it felt like there was some restraint to his voice, and like I said, I was just waiting for the song to drop, and of course it did drop, but it didn't drop as, hard and as scary or whatever as I thought it was going to. I thought it was going to jump back, but still a big drop there. I do believe the drums came in, and then we got going. But like I said, it's so sludgy in its own way, and I mean that's what you get with grunge, of course, but there's, of course, a classic rock and roll kind of feel, maybe not rock and roll, but classic rock feel to it as well. And it's so big. It's such an enormous sound. It's so unforgiving. And that's what I think about when I go with grunge. And when I think about rock music of the 1990s, of course, the sound was huge. And you would have other bands that would come in into the late 90s that tried to replicate the sound of these guys, or again, Alice in Chains or Pearl Jam, Nirvana, whatever. I mean, the Big Four. And Soundgarden, of course, was a part of the Big Four in the grunge scene, but of course STP was there too. And so it's just nuts. I mean, like I said, Scott could have his nicer side, or he could have his more soft voice side, but none of that was in this song at all. This is just pure angst, and from what I've read as well, people think about what the song could be about, and it seems to be about a relationship in a way, and how the narrator here, who's the way Scott is singing from, got broken up with, and was stepped on by this girl's now lover or whatever. But from what I've read, I guess Scott did say that it was more of a stream of consciousness thing, and it was just all about that angst kind of feeling. It was just all about the angsty vibe. It was all about that angry vibe and what you could get out of it. And how he said as well, he was like in his early 20s when he wrote this, and that he didn't really have much life experience, so it wasn't really anywhere. It wasn't coming from anywhere personally, I guess. But at the same point, it's a relatable tune for a lot of people who have gone through a bad love or bad breakups or whatever. So, and just that anger, I can't get a constant anger throughout the whole song, constant emotion, constant passion. Of course, anger is an energy. My goodness gracious, I believe John Lydon said that. But yeah, it's just and high energy too. I can only imagine this being sung live when they would do this at concerts and stuff. And of course, Scott was known for his megaphone, and I do know as well that he would sing this through a megaphone, through what I've read too. So just to give the song even more of a bump, even more of a oomph, as I like to say. It's just, I can't imagine what the crowd would have been like. I'd imagine there would be mosh pits going when this song was being played, like many other songs. So anyway, through all that hubbub, I've talked about everybody except for one man on this track, but let's just get to it anyway. Scott Weiland, like I talked about, is on lead vocals here. Robert DeLeo on bass guitar and backing vocals. Dean DeLeo, of course, I would believe they're brothers, of course, is on guitars here. And Eric Kretz, like I said, Kretz, I do believe is how you pronounce his last name, is on drums. And the way that these guys all had the same vision here to just create such a bombastic, badass, kick-ass feel. I loved it. They all seemed to be on the same page here. The production was just glorious in its own grimy, grungy way, and and it just that mood. It's just everything matched the lyrics. The lyrics matched the music, and the music matched the song. It's I don't know. It's just, everything was good. Holy moly, Dead and Bloated. I mean, that's obviously not a very good sight. And you think about Scott's early demise, his early death in 2015 as well, and many people's early deaths from the grunge era as well, and singers anyway. My goodness gracious, so that comes to mind too. But let's get into these lyrics now, not to go down on a bad note at the end there, or a sad note anyway. I'm smelling like the rose that somebody gave me on my birthday, deathbed. I am. It's just, oh my God. The way he sings this, smelling like the rose that somebody gave me because I'm dead and bloated. And I mean, obviously, right off the bat, I'm thinking about this guy's dead and he's bloated. Hello, that's what happens when you pass away, of course. And think about the rose that people would put on your coffin or put on you when you're in your coffin or whatever the hell, or even when you're cremated, you're in the urn, but there's roses everywhere. I mean, flowers are delivered to funerals all the time. Hello. So I think about that and think about him just being dead and bloated. I mean, it's as pretty plain as it can be. Although some of these lyrics are pretty easy to get right out the get-go, from what they're readable, but they are very deep, and that is one example there, I would say, out the get-go. And then you go into the first verse, I'm smelling like the rose that somebody gave me on my birthday, deathbed, and again, it's just much of the same as the intro, except the intro was sung, in a different way. And then we go on to the chorus, so I'm not going to go on more with that. Oh, yeah, and she says it's natural, and here comes she. The woman of this track here. I feel I've come of age. When she peaks, I start to run. Oh, yeah. She says it's natural. I feel I've come of age. When she peaks, I start to run. And again, just showing where we're going to go with the song and showing how we're in danger here. And I mean, the song kind of tells you that with its sound, that it's dangerous and that this guy's in a different situation, if you want to say that as well. But at the same point, obviously, this woman has some kind of control over this guy in a way, I guess you would say, or she used to anyway. And in the way she says it's natural that you're going to leave me here and I don't want you anymore. And then we go on with the post-chorus. You can't swallow what I'm thinking. You can't swallow what I'm thinking. And again, I don't know if I think about how deep these lyrics could be, and I don't know if I'm reading too much into this because, of course, this is at the beginning of their career. It's 1992. Scott had not gone through all of his problems, maybe some problems, but you can't swallow what I'm thinking. And again, I just think about Scott's mental health and think about anybody's mental health in the band there too. You can't swallow what I'm thinking. You don't know me, maybe in another way to put it. But you're not in my mind. Go in my head, come back out, and tell me I'm wrong. Then you go into the second verse. Again, it's much of the same, but it says so much, and that repetition does not hurt. It's not even like it's filler, because it just works so well, and every time he sings that line, I just get pumped up even more. I am smelling like the rose that somebody gave me on my birthday, deathbed. And birthday, deathbed, I don't know if that means you die on your birthday. I apologize if that's wrong. I am trampled under the sole of another man's shoes. So there it goes there. I'm trampled under the sole of another man's shoes. Guess I walk too softly. Maybe I never stood up for myself. Maybe that's what the she in the song did not like about him. He was too soft. He was too nice or whatever as well. And again, like I said, didn't stand up for himself, and now he's trampled over another man's shoes. And that almost feels like a kink in a way for some people. But then you go into the chorus once more. And like I said, I could listen to that chorus all day long, just the way that he sings it and the way that the band plays behind him. Then you got the pre-chorus. You can't swallow what I'm thinking. You can't swallow what I'm thinking. And I'm sure he's thinking a lot here for the problems he's going through in the song. Although, like I said, apparently Scott said this was just a stream of consciousness thing for the lyrics, but obviously there is some kind of a story here. I mean, that we're getting, I would say. Then you have the bridge. I run through the world thinking about tomorrow. Much of the same as the other line there. Of course, you can't swallow what I'm thinking. And then I run through the world thinking about tomorrow, tomorrow, not even thinking about today. And then when today is over, I'm thinking about the next day again. It's just his mind is racing. I mean, all these things come to mind, and it just fits so well for what Scott's life would become. I mean, I keep going back to that. And what, it fits well for a lot of, like I said, other singers. Kurt Cobain, Lane Staley, Shannon Hoon. I mean, these guys, holy moly. Then you have the first verse come in again. Yeah, I got the bridge, the verse, and I already talked about all those things, and I don't want to talk about them again because I talk too much anyway. But, I'm a deathbed, smelling like the rose somebody gave me. And like I said, I just think about the rose that they put on you when you are on your deathbed or whatever, when you are dead and bloated. And but again, like I said, you could think about so many different situations that this could call to in this in this way, and all the issues that you can go through and all the issues that Scott would go through. And in a way, it's almost foreshadowing in a sad way too. But anyway, at the end of the day, no matter what, the sound itself, it's just, like I said, it's beefy. I mean, that's the first word that came to mind. It's just, there's so much beef here. And it's just, the way that it's being played as well, you can tell the band was having fun. And you could tell the band probably liked to play big, bombastic songs like this. And they were very good at it too. I mean, like I said, I haven't listened to a lot of STP, but Plush is probably one of their biggest tracks. And for good reason. Plush is a great song. And it's obvious that it's from the same album here because it has so much of the same tones and stuff like that. But yeah, I just think of a song like that where they just let it all out. And this is another one here where you could listen to it if you're angry or even if you're happy. I mean, my God, and just let all your emotions out and just fucking bang your head to it. So anyway, I guess that's all I got to say. So thanks for watching. Thanks for liking, subscribing, commenting, all of those things. I really appreciate all of your support, and I'll talk to you guys again soon.